Sony is shutting down Bluepoint Games, the remake specialist, the we can rebuild your classics with scary good polish studio. According to multiple reports, this is happening in March 2026, and around 70 people are expected to be affected. Let that sit for a second, because if that studio can get folded, what does safe even mean in the PlayStation ecosystem anymore? Here's what's confirmed by reporting. A PlayStation spokesperson said the decision followed a recent business review, and Bluepoint is expected to shut down in March. Sony also says it'll try to place some impacted staff elsewhere where possible, but the studio itself is still being closed. Also important, this isn't some random studio that shipped nothing. Bluepoint is known for prestige remakes like Demon's Souls and Shadows of the Colossus, and Sony acquired Bluepoint back in 2021. So yeah, they absolutely delivered on their past projects, but ultimately, that track record couldn't save them. Now, one correction to a lot of chatter flying around, Bluepoint wasn't the lead developer on God of War Ragnarok, but they are credited for additional work. People often say they co-developed Ragnarok. To be precise, they provided support work on a crown jewel release, which tells you Sony trusted their pipeline. According to reporting that includes an internal memo attributed to PlayStation's studio leadership, Hermen Hulst, the shutdown was framed as a response to an increasingly challenging industry environment. That phrase is corporate fog. It can mean budget, it can mean forecast, it can mean a specific project isn't shaping up, it can mean a reorganization because live service plans didn't land. But here's what is grounded. This closure is being discussed in the context of PlayStation's wider turbulence around studio shutdowns and strategy shifts. Multiple outlets have linked this moment to PlayStation's messy pivot towards live service, and specifically, Bluepoint had been connected in reporting to a now cancelled live service God of War project. So this is where the story gets grim. When a publisher bets hard on a trend, the studios attached to that bet can end up paying the bill when the trend face plants. This points directly to strategic whiplash rather than any specific performance failure by the development team. Now we can talk about the claim Blueprint was working on a God of War Trilogy remake. The Greek Trilogy remake itself is real, Sony has confirmed it's in development, and they've also said it's still early. What's not confirmed is the part people keep stapling onto it, that Bluepoint was the studio doing it. The reporting around the Bluepoint shutdown ties them to a cancelled live service God of War project, not an officially assigned Trilogy remake. So if you see Bluepoint was remaking the Trilogy, said like it's a fact, treat that as an extra claim that hasn't been backed the same way. Would it have made sense? 100%. Bluepoint's brand is literally luxury remakes, but sense doesn't equal confirmation. If Bluepoint was working on a remake project in any form, it would likely be early concepting, a small internal prototype, or something that never left the maybe column. Because when a publisher knows they're about to announce something big, it tends to leak through real channels. Casting, contractors, rating boards, supply chains, marketing calendar, and we don't have that here tying Bluepoint to the project. This is the part that hits harder. Bluepoint is a specialist studio that they do a thing that most studios can't do well. Rebuild beloved games without breaking the soul of them. So when a platform holder shuts down a specialist like that, a few things follow. First, no one is safe even if you're excellent. This is a studio with prestige output history, and it still ended up on the chopping block. Consolidation gets louder than creativity. If leadership decides fewer studios, fewer bets, tighter portfolio, the casualties are often teams that don't fit the next strategy slide, and remakes become riskier, not safer. The people who knew how to do them at the top tier just got scattered to the wind. For fans, the real concern is seeing the industry prioritize financial restructuring over the creation of fundamentally good games. Also, just to be real, we're talking about roughly 70 roles being impacted, and even if some people get placed elsewhere, that's still livelihoods getting tossed in a blender. These are the actual people put the work in and help ship some of PlayStation's most polished modern remakes. Here are the only reasonable questions to ask next. Do any Bluepoint staff get folded into other PlayStation teams? Does Sony keep the remake specialist model alive somewhere else, or is that era done? And how many more studios are one business review away from the same outcome? Cutting a studio with this level of prestige sends a very clear message about Sony's current priorities. Do you think this is Sony cleaning house after a strategy miss, or the start of a bigger consolidation wave? And be honest, if Bluepoint isn't safe, who is?